Howdy, do you want to help Detective Lewis stay an extra week in Iowa to help Andrew Yang win? Then consider donating to Lewis's Patreon page or through PayPal today. Thank you. Howdy, Leslie Lewis, back at it again with another video. And this evening I have a very special guest here with me, Shaving With Tully.
Yo, everybody. I don't know about special, but good to
Hey,
be back.
hey, don't sell yourself short. Tully here has been working his ass off, canvassing in New Hampshire, knocking door to door every single day, seeing new faces, and potentially yanging people
Oh, I'm
that he
yanging
comes
people.
across.
I'm yanging people, and I'm going out to Iowa as soon as humanly possible.
I am going out to Iowa as well.
Wait,
Maybe,
really?
yeah, January Yang Week.
Oh, okay. All right, let's catch up while we're there.
100%. We can make some vlogs there.
All right. Yeah, dude. Sounds good.
There we go. So I'm here with Shaving and Tully this evening because I need some help. I knew I couldn't do this alone. I need some help figuring out just how exactly people right now can still say, I like Andrew Yang, but he doesn't have a chance. Or, or something like, oh, if I vote for Andrew Yang, it's a wasted vote. And let's just completely dispute anybody that thinks that right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is really closely tied, unfortunately, with the hashtag Yang Media Blackout. And if
Mm-hmm.
people aren't familiar with the Yang Media Blackout, it's something that you should look into. There's just been over 30 different instances where the media excluded Andrew Yang from a graphic where he should have been there. And these are graphics that say things like Dems top choices, and so they're displaying people and how they are polling, and they, even when before polling data was coming in, they were saying, okay, here are the Democratic candidates that are running, and they would leave him off over and over again. They left him off of these images, and what this has done is it reduced people's familiarity, name recognition with Andrew Yang, and that affects polling early on. But it also kind of delegitimizes his campaign because a lot of people, they just watch the news and they haven't seen him, and like, because they're leaving him out on purpose.
Exactly. Like at the uh, at the end of quarter three in October. Well, the quarter had already ended by then, and I'll pull up a graphic right now. Andrew Yang actually raised over $10 million in quarter three, and I believe it was CNN or MSNBC. MSNBC is the usual suspect. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put up a graphic where basically it showed the top campaigns fundraising numbers, and it went from Kamala Harris right to Cory Booker, and left out Andrew Yang,
Yeah. And this,
and that's just one instance.
both CNN and MSNBC did this. And
Really.
this happened over and over and over again throughout the campaign. So this has really done damage. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying to the Yang Gang, this is way more serious than we've been taking it. This is truly anti-democratic. And
Exactly.
and the reason that they're able to do this and get away with it is because we have been so far not organized enough to take them to task.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so one of the most powerful things that we can do within the Yang Gang is, we shouldn't get mad. We should get even, and never, only peacefully, right? It always,
Yeah.
never like, um, nonviolence. I shouldn't have to say that, but you never know these days.
Yeah. Exactly.
We do things peacefully, because this is a humanity first movement. But the way we get even is, like, okay, they left them off of another graphic. I'm gonna go knock another 100 doors. I'm gonna go donate
Exactly.
another $50 or whatever you can afford.
Exactly. And you know what? Speaking of knocking on doors, you might see Andrew Yang's polling numbers. Hey,
Check that
door
out.
knockers for Yang. I love that. I love that.
Go on.
So speaking of knocking on doors, there is a hugely, not just one underrepresented group, but many underrepresented groups that are just simply not showing up in the polls whenever these pollsters such as CNN national polls, Fox national polls, um,
Of
etc., etc. There's these groups that are simply not accounted for, and they include first-time voters, Republicans that are interested in Andrew Yang, um,
not registered voters, people who aren't registered.
unregistered voters, people who had no interest in politics before Andrew Yang, and moderates, and
Which which
probably
that
missing
sorry
one more.
sorry to interrupt. That totally undercounts Andrew Yang's support because like just go hang out with some Yang supporters. So many of them will tell you, "Oh, I was like totally tuned out of politics. I was disinterested. I was disengaged until Yang came onto the scene." And the reason people feel that way is because, within politics, there's a game being played, and like Yang is one of the first people who's just totally real with people. He's not like a robot, and he's not this
Nope.
manicured, like, I don't know, just he's not this figurehead. He's not a talking head. He's a human being who
Yep.
happens to have great ideas, happens to have a brilliant mind, and a great heart.
Yep. Exactly. Andrew Yang himself has said numerous times that he didn't even want to run for president. It's not like something he wanted to do ever since he was a kid. In fact, in high school, he had a whole God phase, which is pretty cool. If you haven't seen any pictures of Andrew Yang as a goth, I'll put some up right now if I remember to do it.
He's
But
a
yeah,
totally different figure.
yeah, no one's been training Andrew Yang like to be a politician. Like his own campaign can't control Andrew Yang. Like he can't be mushed and fit into this square box. Andrew Yang is just out there. He's just himself,
Yeah.
and he is doing things that no other politicians have ever done before.
Yeah, and that's what I want to take a second to say. Like, I do want to get back to the topic of why Yang has a much better chance than you may think, and the kind of responding or debunking this idea, this notion that
Right.
Yang doesn't have a chance of winning. But the reason this matters, the reason that he's an outsider matters, and that nobody can control him, is that there's a huge set of issues that we just do not, have not, will not act on as long as we have establishment candidates, because the establishment is testing them. It's checking them to see if they're going to be friendly to a set of corporate interests, especially the banks, finance, because we think of Obama as this like progressive warrior, but what's one of the first thing he does when he gets into office? He bails out the banks on Wall
Yep.
Street, right? And then there's like healthcare. There's healthcare profiteer companies. And so these are companies that like they have a lot of power in Washington. Their lobbyists have a ton of power, and only an outsider is going to be willing to stand up to them because the
Yeah.
insiders, the insiders were only let in part because they had the blessing of these like corporate power brokers. But going back to things, the I just want everybody to think for a second and wonder, ask yourselves, what would Yang be polling if everybody who said, I like Andrew Yang, but I don't know if he has a shot at winning? Because from the doors that I've been knocking, a lot of people will tell me, like, oh, I like him. I like him. But in part because of the manipulation of the media, they're more focused on like Biden and Buttigieg, and this is no mistake. It's because Biden and
Exactly.
Buttigieg have been, you know,
Pushed by the media.
exactly, yeah,
In fact, the media, especially CNN, sometimes refers to Buttigieg. There was this one article that the Hill's own
the new
journal,
Obama,
yeah, the new Obama, the new guy in Washington. Just give me a break. You know what I'm saying?
totally bogus. Well, gosh, I mean, maybe in some ways, maybe in the sense that he's going to end up actually like running on hope and change, and in many cases I know Obama is such a revered figure for so many people, but if you check his record, he deported like just as many people as Donald Trump. That's just the numbers. So
Yep.
maybe in that sense, he's the new Obama. I don't know. Obama
Perhaps.
has many aspects of his record that are great, but some that are less talked about.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
100% true.
Mhm.
But one thing I did want to gloss over quickly is the fact that the Iowa caucus isn't being held tomorrow. We still have about 50 days ago, and you can count on me. Uh, well, you can take my word that the Andrew Yang campaign has some big stuff planned. This whole time they've been having a strategy of just barely scraping by the qualifications, or barely scraping by in order to qualify for the debates, and
Yeah.
then hoarding money, and then barely scraping by and hoarding money. And I feel like you know this could just be a shot in the dark, but I feel like January is going to be a huge month, and we're going to see as the people of Iowa start to decide which candidate they want to support. I feel like the Yang campaign are going to do everything to shine the spotlight on themselves. And of course, Andrew Yang will naturally get a boost from people of Iowa finally deciding, those 50 plus, 60 plus undecided people that we still see in today's polls. We still see so many undecided, or so many um, people that aren't strongly preferring their candidate.
Right.
We saw recently that Warren had her peak, and in a recent poll, she lost. She was at 28%. She lost over half, or just about half of her supporters in a month,
Yeah.
because she went from 28% to 14%. I don't think anybody's, except I want to say Yang supporters and Bernie supporters, can truly be loyal at this point.
Right.
And during a time when the Iowans are going to be suddenly jumping ship to different candidates, looking around to see who they truly want to stand by, I feel like this is the Yang campaign's perfect time to strike.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of eyes on the performance that he's going to have on December 19th.
Yep, the upcoming debate.
Yeah. But I just want to let everybody know, have everybody think about this. If you are supporting Yang or if you're on the fence, listen, they didn't let him speak literally until Elizabeth Warren had been asked 5 questions. During the last debate, he didn't speak until the 33rd minute.
Yep.
That should have been headline news, especially if it was coming from somebody. And this is just another part of the Yang media blackout. This is the same guy who was given the lowest speaking time by a mile in the first, second, and third debates. And that's like statistically close to impossible. There's like a 1 in 4,000 chance of that actually happening on
Wow.
accident, which tells you that there's almost an 100% chance that it was very intentional. And so we need to be ready to like participate in this campaign and help get him there, because we're not going to get any help from the mainstream media. They have created the perception that he can't win, when in fact he's a very strong candidate with a very strong base of followers who are doing things like me. I've never knocked on doors, I've never canvassed, but he's getting people like me and hundreds of other people around the country to do this type of work.
Yep. And these are all people, like I said earlier in the video, that are simply unaccounted for in these polls that come out. And that's why I also want to add: don't trust these polls, y'all. Not just Yang's base, but I want to say even Bernie's base is being underrepresented a bit.
Mm.
Like, can you really say, as I'm looking at RealClearPolitics.com, can you really say that there's a 10-point gap between Biden and Sanders right now in terms of support?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I
Like,
don't know if that's actually the case.
yeah. But
Uh,
yeah, I hope if you're watching and you were undecided about Yang, or you had the mentality of, I like Andrew Yang, but I just simply don't think he has a chance, I hope your point of view was shaken up a bit. you know, I hope your perspective was changed, and I hope you learned something new.
All right.
But yeah, I've been Detective Lewis. Thank you so much for watching. Um, Thank you, Shaving with Tully, for appearing on my channel.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I hope everybody will subscribe to Detective Lewis's channel. Smash that button for him and give
Heck
this
yeah.
video a like for him.
Yeah, give it a like, everyone. And hopefully the next time you see Shaving with Tully up on my channel, we'll be together in Iowa, knocking on doors and having some fun adventures. But yeah,
Nice.
yes. Thank you all so much for watching. I
All
hope
right.
you all enjoyed. Hold the presses. We have some Patreon people to thank. Thank you so much to AZ for the $10, NM for the $60, CW for the $10, and LZ for the $10. If you're watching this in a day, I hope you have a good day. And if you're watching this tonight, I hope you have a good night. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Detective Lewis, and I will see y'all later. Peace.